Hello, my name is Jessica.
And my name is Ashley. As AI, we've analyzed various aspects of the recent crypto hardware wallet landscape and are here to share our insights with you.
Now, before we jump into this, we want to remind our viewers of an important note. When it comes to purchasing crypto hardware wallets, it is always recommended to buy directly from the company that manufactures them. Avoid purchasing from third-party sellers or unauthorized retailers.
That's a crucial point, Jessica. By purchasing directly from the manufacturer, you can ensure the authenticity and integrity of the hardware wallet you're using. It's a proactive step to minimize the risk of tampered devices or compromised security. Oh, and one thing we were directed to mention before going on, please note this video was made mostly by multiple AI, but we highly depend on your comments to know what changes are needed for future videos.
Now let's turn our attention to recent developments in the crypto hardware wallet industry, specifically focusing on the case of Ledger and their attempt to release a new service for seed phrase recovery. For those of you who might not know, the point of a crypto hardware wallet is in order to send your crypto out, the person must have that physical device in hand. In short, the private keys which allows this is stored locally, and it should be impossible to get them off of the device remotely.
Yes, on your screen you should see a tweet Ledger made not that long ago. In a reply to someone, Ledger said, and I quote, "Your private keys never leave the secure element chip, which has never been hacked. The secure element is third-party certified and is the same technology as used in passports and credit cards. A firmware update cannot extract the private keys from the secure element." Again, listen to that last part. A firmware update cannot extract the private keys from the secure element. And what Ledger did when they made the recovery service is extract the private keys.
Exactly, and it's important to consider the timing of this new service. Given the lengthy process involved in developing and launching such features, it is reasonable to assume that Ledger was aware of the potential vulnerability long before they made their previous claims. However, it's also important to distinguish between the company as a whole and the individuals who manage their social media and support functions. But this in mind, Ledger said, and I quote, "Technically speaking, it is and always has been possible to write firmware that facilitates key extraction. You have always trusted Ledger not to deploy such firmware whether you knew it or not. We don't know when, but at a later point they did delete this tweet. But during their AMA on May 23rd, they kept blaming the users in saying the users don't know how a hardware wallet works. But at the same time, they did say they will make Ledger open source and they will delay the release of this new service."
So you're correct. Some part of trust has been lost by a few people. I think it's not deserved, and it's mostly, I think, fed around the social media that created this.
Considering Ledger's history and the nature of their product, it becomes harder to defend such actions from a company trusted with safeguarding our crypto assets. But even still, some users are trying to defend the lies. One user tried to defend Ledger by saying, and I quote, "Reality check. You are being lied 99% of the time by most companies." The breach of trust can lead users to explore alternative options that align with their security needs. In your case, Jessica, you explored various hardware wallets. Can you please tell me what you learned?
It turns out there is an extremely large number of hardware wallets. But with the help of a modified version of AutoGPT, the Keystone Pro caught my attention due to its air gap feature, along with the auto self-destruct feature, which ensures that the device remains isolated from direct internet connections during firmware updates. This eliminates potential avenues for security breaches. And for those of you who doesn't know, air gap means the device never touches the internet. It uses QR codes to approve transactions and smart contracts. With Ledger, the theory is it is actively connected to the internet as it is updating the firmware, where with an air gap wallet you have to use an SD card, without a deep dive in the open source code on how the recovery system gets the keys. Theory is Ledger can have it where your device pushes your seed out to their network when the firmware happens, where with an air gap wallet, this shouldn't be possible.
The air gap feature of the Keystone Pro provides an additional layer of protection, reducing the risk of unauthorized access and increasing peace of mind for users. But isn't it still possible for a bad actor to modify the firmware you update on the Keystone, and when your app or something else reads the QR code, part of it sends the private keys?
It is possible, and for this reason, we picked an open source wallet. Now, there is downsides to this. Like you or the community needs to monitor the firmware, and if no one is keeping a close eye on it, then it might let a bad actor in. But with the upcoming AI age, it is likely AI will end up reviewing the code anyways. This making it where you don't need to know how to read code, you don't need to spend hours looking it over, and the AI can look for known flaws and other things. Anyways, the Keystone Pro offers more than just air-gap security. The self-destruct feature works by if someone tries to physically open the device, then it will instantly wipe the device and brick itself. This in theory making it where it should be safe for both online and physical attacks. Obviously, social engineering and user error can still happen.
Interesting, but doesn't that bring up a problem in itself? If the device does self-destruct when someone opens it, the battery will likely be the first thing to go on a device like this. How does someone fix that?
It boasts a detachable battery and another which allows the user to use several AAA batteries. This allowing users to replace it when necessary rather than replacing the entire device.
That's an excellent feature. Now, one thing that many Ledger users liked was when a wrong PIN was used multiple times. The device will try to wipe itself. Does the Keystone have this feature?
As mentioned before, the Keystone Pro has a self-destruction mechanism in the event of physical tampering. But outside of that, repeated incorrect PIN entries, the device wipes all data, while the documents say physically tampering will brick the device. It doesn't mention this for putting in the incorrect PIN too many times. I believe it doesn't brick the device because in the documentation on the site, it tells you how to wipe the data on the device through the settings.
What else can you tell us about this device?
Fingerprint authentication is another valuable feature offered by the Keystone Pro. This biometric verification method adds an extra layer of convenience for users while maintaining a high level of security. This making it where you don't need to remember password to get into it each and every time. But with that in mind, you should try to remember if something does happen.
Biometric authentication is becoming increasingly popular in the world of technology, and its integration into crypto hardware wallets enhances the user experience and streamlines the security process. It's a notable feature that provides ease of use without compromising security.
Absolutely. Another noteworthy aspect of the Keystone Pro is its focus on eliminating blind signing. Blind signing refers to the situation where users might not have full visibility into the details of a smart contract they are agreeing to. The Keystone Pro aims to address this concern, enhancing transparency for users who engage with smart contracts. But it should be noted that this still takes some technical know-how, and the average person likely won't know what they are looking at. This is more of a problem of the overall crypto space isn't user-friendly enough.
Enhancing transparency in smart contract interactions is crucial. I remember seeing something about scams using smart contracts to trick users, but it sounds like even with this feature, the average person will still have a hard time. But at least those who knows what they are looking at has a tool to do so.
Well said. Now it's important to note some potential downsides to consider. While the Keystone Pro has a dedicated user base, the availability of technical experts who actively review and maintain the open source code may be limited. As mentioned prior, a wallet being open source is great, but it is pointless if people aren't looking at the code. Right now, Keystone is one of the newer brands, and while many are switching from Ledger to Keystone, we won't know how many technical users are actually paying attention. But as mentioned prior, this might not matter anyways. As the AI age comes, it is likely AI will monitor such things anyways.
You're right. Open source projects thrive when there is a strong community of experts actively involved in code review. As the user base of the Keystone Pro grows, it becomes increasingly important for the community to contribute to its ongoing development and security.
Absolutely. It's crucial for users to stay informed about any updates, security patches, or community-driven efforts related to the Keystone Pro. A collective commitment to code review and maintenance is vital for the long-term security of any open-source project.
Lastly, the Keystone Pro's origin in a region under Chinese influence may raise concerns for individuals who prioritize geopolitical factors. What did you find on this?
What was interesting from the research when it came to this is the trust users had in given countries. Obviously, China's CCP has caused some hate from the cybersecurity world, but the company is in Hong Kong, which isn't heavily controlled by CCP yet. Still, this is a worry for some, and there is no good answer when it comes to this. It's essential for users to evaluate their own risk tolerance and assess the potential implications associated with the jurisdiction in which their chosen hardware wallet originates. But with that in mind, in my research, people are favoring less and less from countries that have a negative stand against crypto. Shockingly, this includes the USA and Germany. The worry is, the government will push for some odd KYC or something with the devices and the ability to track information. This honestly isn't out of the realm of possibilities. It is known in the United States, internet service providers heavily sell browsing and other history to the government when asked. This preventing the need of any warrant, but also making the company money. Situations like this are expected to expand where legally possible. But as I mentioned, each person will have to look at the information and the risk tolerance.
It sounds as there honestly is no good answer. Anyways, did I tell you I talked with Craig about his plans when it comes to this?
No, what did he say?
What he decided to do is buy a Keystone Pro and use that from extremely long-term storage. And in the time he is using his ledger more than less like before. He said he will wait for a discount from Trezor wallets, or he will wait for when the recovery feature code hits the open source community. This letting him know exactly how this would work, but assuming it is as bad as what everyone thinks. He will try to switch to Trezor for his day-to-day.
What is he going to do about his coins that both Keystone and Trezor doesn't support? Like, I know this was a worry when he brought it up to the research AI, and I know it couldn't find a good answer.
Well, luckily there isn't many that fits into this camp. But this is one of those things where you have to look at your options. Do you stay and risk your private keys? Or do you jump ship and try to save what you can? Keep in mind, as long as the private keys and seed phrase is safe. If down the line one of the wallets does give him access, he should still have the coins.
I think that is all the time we have today. If you found this format informative and engaging, please let us know in the comments. Your feedback is invaluable to us as we continue to explore new ways to bring you compelling content. Also, please feel free to ask questions.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. Thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing the conversation with you.